What's up, guys? It's your boy Josh Showtime, Showtime's Fight Form. I got my boy Josh Fayez. We are here to regrettably have to, talk about this, but it's major boxing news, and Ryan Garcia is making headlines again. He's been in the headlines for like 2 weeks straight now, mainly for good reasons. Now it's all the chickens that come to roost. He is tested positive for banned substance. I did some research on the substance. From what I've heard, it is something that helps the muscle grow quickly, and it also turns fat. It stores fat and turns it into muscle. Helps you recover faster, and it's just a thing that we just don't want to hear about. First things first. When you found out about the news, what'd you think? What was your overall reaction?
Um, Not to switch sports, but you know, Adam Wojnarowski, he drops Woj bombs. Mike Coppinger dropped a bomb when I read that on Twitter for the first time. I just could
So it
not
was
believe.
Coppinger that you heard it from.
Yeah, so
I heard it from Dan. I heard it from Dan.
okay, cool. Yeah, so no, I was just scrolling on Twitter X just like a normal person would, and literally 8 minutes because you know you can switch between following and so forth. Right there, I was just, and my initial reaction was, "You've got to be kidding me! You've got to be kidding me! Like, no way!" So yes, I that was just my initial reaction, and I'd love to hear yours.
It was the exact same. I honestly I thought it was a joke because, like I said, I saw it from Dan. Was it Dan Raphael, whatever his last name is, whatever.
Hmm.
So I saw it on his first, but he doesn't have like any verification. So I thought it was a troll. Like I didn't think it was real because he has to have a verification. Like he worked at ESPN. He's a very decorated writer. We all know who he is.
Hmm.
Then I was like, but let me check. I look at the follows. It was like 200,000 or so, 20,000, whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, this might be him. Then I looked at the name. Then I started like scrolling and made, oh shoot, this is him. I was like, no way, bruh. No way. Come on, Ryan. We were all rooting for you. We was on your side. We was hyped for you. Like, you had upset of the year. Like, probably the biggest upset in the past, what, 2, 3 years. I can't really think of the last major upset that was this big. And you miss weight and then you test positive. It's one thing to like give him the benefit of the doubt if he did also miss weight. But then him missing weight now and then also like testing positive, it's like, bruh, you knew what you was doing. Like, come on, man. Like, granted, we want to sit here and we can say like guilty. I mean, innocent until proven guilty. I'm always on that. But when it comes to steroids or PEDs, no one's ever guilty. No one's ever. He's never gonna admit it unless he's Lance Armstrong and then does it 10 years later. Like John Jones still to this day doesn't believe he's taking anything. So I don't. We know they're not going to admit it. We know that's not happening. But at the same time, let's be fair. There has been wrong situations. There has been situations where they have supposedly tested positive and they really either didn't or they did it unknowingly. I can bring up from my perspective MMA tense Yoel Romero. Do you know who Yoel Romero is?
Yeah, of course.
So Yoel Romero tested positive for a PED. I don't know if it was a steroid per se, but it was definitely a PED. And you look at Yoel Romero, you're automatically going to say, oh, of course, look at him. He's 42 years old and he's built like he's 21. Like 100% he's on steroids. Turns out he unknowingly took it and he sued the company that he got his supplements from. And he won. He got his suspension turned over and he settled for like a $27 million suit.
Yep.
So it goes to show that it is possible that he took something unknowingly. I don't necessarily, if you asking me, do I think he did it unknowingly? No, because he's crazy. Like, he is insane. So I don't believe it. However, it's possible.
Yeah, it definitely is possible. It's unfortunate that this had occurred after, in my humble opinion, a great night of boxing.
Yes.
Regardless of what you thought of the pre-fight antics by Ryan or Devin, it was a great fight overall. So tough to
Yeah.
see this happen. I just have a lot of questions about all of it before I even want to really accuse Ryan. first of all, awful decision by anyone to do anything to hurt another fighter on the level of PEDs.
Absolutely.
You put your life on the line in that ring. So if that was Ryan's intent and he did it intentionally, then absolutely ban him from boxing. I think that every boxer really should be banned from boxing who does steroids for at least 5 years. You
Oh,
know,
shoot. Okay.
maybe even longer, maybe even longer. But I think that the sport is
Does it
just
matter the type of steroid, or you just say any? Because here's the thing: there are levels to PEDs.
there are levels to PEDs, but I feel like the sport is just too dangerous to even have those type of like situations
Loopholes.
occur. Yeah, loopholes or situations, right? Like, I think in a sport like maybe football, basketball, where yes, football is a lot of contact, but then again, in football, you're wearing pads, you're wearing helmets. You know, you
But
don't
you also have to remember cocaine and weed are PEDs.
really.
They are. They
Oh,
are. You will get some.
okay, that is okay. Yes, that's fair point to me.
Keyshawn Davis popped for PEDs. Weed.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. However, in my humble opinion, I would say that I wouldn't consider those PEDs except for
But
maybe
that's but
cocaine.
that's my point. That's why I
True,
said there's
true.
levels to what they consider PEDs.
So,
And if anybody, and here's the thing: nobody is gonna sit here. If you're on coke or you're on weed and you want to fight, nobody's really gonna sit here and say, "Oh, he won because he smoked weed." No, never. It's never going. We don't. Granted, does weed help you? I personally do think weed does have somewhat of an advantage because I do think it relaxes you. Like for people who are like very tense, they're nervous, things like that. You smoke weed, it can calm you, it can relax you, and that does give you a benefit. But at the same time, being high as a professional athlete, throwing punches is also not an advantage. So
right.
like, I mean, I've never smoked weed a day in my life, so I can't necessarily tell you. I can only go off of what people have told me who smoked weed before, and from what they've told me, you don't really want to fight high. That ain't what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, for for someone who also knows probably what that looks like, I could only imagine that you want to stay relaxed when you're high. So I can imagine you don't want to be punched, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about actual drug substances like PEDs, like
Yeah.
what do we have here? Like
Was it
Ostarine.
Austrian or
Yeah.
whatever?
So for me, if Ryan Garcia, I'm just so confused on what's going on here. He has shown time and time again screenshots that he passed his test, and I don't know about taking steroids. I don't know if you know anyone who has, but my impression is that steroids don't happen overnight. So if he didn't, if he tested positive the night before and the night after, I mean, what did he take that could have gave him that type of edge over right over a 24-hour period? Because a steroid like this sounds like a steroid that you would take for a while.
So I have a friend or two who take steroids. They don't compete. They just take steroids. So let me just go ahead and say that. And for what I know from the steroids he took, basically it's all about cycling off. Like a lot of these guys know when they're gonna get tested. Now with UFC, they don't know when they're getting tested. They literally will show up at your house 4 in the morning, knocking your door, and say, "Hey, piss in this cup." Boxing isn't like that, and I don't necessarily know that if boxing like has a straight schedule, but I do know you can cycle off your drugs and then pass the test, and then you can get back on it. From what I've read is that it was the day before the fight that he took the test and he failed. But it's a 3 day waiting period. So you're not going to find out the results until after. My biggest thing is why are we just finding out now? If it takes, let's say 3 days, 4 days, or whatever it is, why is it, was it 2 weeks now since the fight has happened? Why are we just now hearing about this? So that's the kind of thing that's weird to me. Maybe it's they wanted to double the samples, or maybe they wanted to just check, not just ruin the poo poo, and then they be wrong, and then Ryan tries to sue for for defamation or something. I don't know, but yet and still, it does suck that 2 weeks after, while we're already trying to moving on, we're trying to go to like Ryan Garcia versus Teo or like Tank 2 or something like that. We now hear this. That sucks. But at the end of the day, if you pop, you pop. And now you got people who have popped that are like not really on his side, but also saying you don't know, like Alicia Baumgartner, and that sparked the whole war too. Now, like then you had Clarissa Shields coming in, then you had Tank coming in,
Des
you had
Bryant.
yeah, you had freaking yeah, you had Devin's dad coming in. Like everybody's just now chiming in the situation. Got ugly and messy. Like I Tank called freaking Clarissa Joanna man. Like it got bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, even Des Bryant got involved, and
Oh,
and
and
Marquette King,
was it Marquise Marquette
Marquette
or
King,
Marquette
yeah,
King or whatever? Yeah, they got into it.
yeah,
Like it's a circus, and Ryan has caused all of this. Like, and then his random video with two random folks behind him talking about I would never cheat, me never. I'm like, brother, I'm gonna be honest with you. You look guilty as hell having those two randoms. One dude like, I was with him every day, brother. Who are you trying to? No, you wasn't. You was
yeah,
not with him. Like, no, you weren't. I don't believe you.
yeah. I guess we'll just have to wait it out, right? He does get his
You
10
have to.
days. He gets his 10 days to do a B sample, and we will see what happens, right? But
We're
overall,
both hoping. We're everyone's hoping the same thing. We're hoping that this was wrong. He did not juice for one Devin's sake, and then two for the fans, man. Like this is for fans. We don't want like there's people who don't care about people who juice. I do care because, like I said, it is dangerous in this kind of sport. I just don't like. There was only one time in the history of life I understood somebody taking steroids. Actually, two people because now Connor fits into it too. Connor and Anderson Silva. Those are two guys who took steroids, and people were saying they've always been juicing. I was like, no. If you broke your leg like Anderson Silva broke his leg, brother, I'm taking steroids too. Like he was 40 and he had a compound he completely snapped his leg. Of course you're gonna want to take steroids. It's not gonna heal properly.
right?
So that kind of situation, I got it. I understood. I wasn't upset about it personally. But we're talking about a 26-year-old. Like you're in your prime.
Yeah,
You're not injured. There's nothing. There's no reason at all you should be taking anything.
yeah. No, I
So
totally agree.
yeah, it's super frustrating. You know, it's disappointing. And for a person who was a Ryan fan, like legit, I've been a Ryan fan for years, and I actually been having Ryan's back because I've been saying people's been disrespecting his skill set. Like this guy has not been a world champion, like in the amateurs, or like this guy does not have power, does not have some skill. Like I've been on that train, and it sucks to be in a situation where it's like, damn, bro, like you really don't believe in yourself. Like what's happening? But like you said, we'll wait for the B sample. We'll wait until all more information's come out. But right now, it ain't looking good for the Garcia camp.
Yeah, it's definitely a dark cloud over their camp right now. So again, all we can do is just wait it out and do the research we've already done, which is clearly this is a PED that does enhance your performance and your muscle mass and your weight loss here. So if Ryan Garcia, with his antics, plus missing weight, plus this, and it stands true that this was a legitimate positive test, I hope he never boxes again, to be honest, because clearly this is just a rough spot, a rough patch for the sport of boxing to have a guy say the things that he was saying, whether he was in the right or wrong, then come in, disrespect the sport by being overweight, and then almost, potentially killing someone by utilizing PEDs, right? So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty chill about it because, like I said, innocent until proven guilty. But not only do they have this one PED here, this Ostarine, but looks like there's some traces of another positive for 19 norendosterone. But
Yeah, I
it,
saw that too.
yeah, they need further lab analysts on that. But to your point, I just don't understand how we get to this point so long after the fight. If they did, why are we taking tests before the fight? And you're telling me in 2024 we can't get like 24-hour response time on whether somebody's test was positive or not? Like we have to wait till after the fight to find out. I don't really buy that. In today's like medical technology world, I just feel like we can definitely find results a lot sooner on steroids at this point. So interesting timing. I think it's something that is sparking some conspiracies, but in reality, all we can do is sit back and watch and see what happens.
That is true. That is true. And unfortunate situation. And here's the thing: if he really did take any kind of supplements or whatever it is, like knowingly, and cheated the game, I already think he need help, but he genuinely does need to like figure his life out because there's something going on, and he got to figure it out, brother. You can't and this is actually like a serious moment. We are both Christians. We both believe in Jesus. We went to the same college and things like that, so we know where each other stand when it comes to that. So we have to take that kind of stuff serious. If you're gonna sit here and promote God, promote Jesus, like you say you're doing, and that's fine. That's beautiful. That's what we want, brother. Like we're not perfect, but you're intentionally doing these things now. Like what are you doing to stop yourself from this? Like you're saying Jesus this, Jesus that. Go to therapy. Go to rehab. Why are you talking about you drinking, getting drunk, smoking weed? Like this is the stuff that makes people go away from God than it does bring people to God. This is the thing they already say about us as Christians. You're hypocrites. You're this, that, and the third. And here's the thing. Once again, us being Christians don't mean that we're perfect. We are going to make mistakes, but it's the intentional part. All right. We're intentionally now doing. You smoked on camera. You drank on camera. You're cheating. You're cheating the game. All right. So like, brother, like you already like, there's so many other avenues as far as like being a Christian that you can already just poke holes at. But once again, I'm not perfect. And you can sit here and you can come at me sideways about me not being perfect all the time. Like I just cussed like 10 minutes ago. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm perfect. But at the same time, you're not going to catch me doing sin after sin after sin after sin after sin and then parade about it. Like, oh yeah, I did it. Yeah. So what? Yeah, I'm effing trolling. But this is for Jesus. Like, you're not going to catch that. I'm not going to disrespect Jesus like that. I'm not doing all that.
Yeah, for me, that was my issue with Ryan Garcia too. I won't even jump into a spiritual standpoint, but to your point, yeah, it was just the highs and the lows of what he was saying were just too extreme. When he was promoting about Jesus, very extreme, which is fine. That's his faith, that's his religion. But then the call outs of other, celebrities in Hollywood and the drinking or some of the verbiage he used was also extremely extreme. So for me, it was just like two highs and two lows that were extreme that really started to turn me off to the point where we got to the fight. I was like, finally, right? But now with this here, I don't like. I gotta see what's up in these next 10 days because if this reigns true, and they can prove that this is real, then this is just really bad for Ryan Garcia, given everything he's been doing over the last 3 or 4 months since this fight has been made announced.
I agree. But that's all we have for that. This is an unfortunate conversation. We ain't happy to do it, but it is what it is. Hopefully, we get some positive answers. Haha.
See what you did there.
Yeah. But thank you guys for watching. As always, man, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, man, make sure y'all stay blessed. Social medias are down below. Make sure you give us a follow.